Hi-oh, beaver! Away!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Chriscast, sponsored by Manco Store. We are bringing more action from Season 22 of ETF2L Highlander Premiership. We're at the middle of the season. It is Week 3, and it is everybody's favourite or least favourite map. Of course, it's CP Steel, and we have the repeat of the final from last season and a number of seasons now. Defending champions Super Dickmann's KANNONEN going up against runners-up Feila eSports. They're at polar opposite ends of the table at the moment. Super Dickmann's have been pretty unstoppable so far, and Feila eSports currently on -1 point. But as we know, Steel is a map where anything can happen. We've seen some magic games on this over the years. Feila will be attacking first here in the blue, trying to set a time, and SDCK will be trying to beat that time. And there's, of course, best of 3, 6 points available. And one team could get the lion's share of it, or they could be split between the two. And Buck, you're talking about Honjo with a Century. Are you expecting some AE shenanigans coming out? Do you think he's going to be building on level 3, taking it around and trying to get some control on that A side?
By the looks of it, they're trying to maybe consider this AE push. I mean, Mezzo's going to be probably calling this one out. He's kind of just flying around in the back lines. JackeyLeg's kind of waiting here, probably to spam them as well on his classic black box conch. But if they can get some quick space in here, it might be good for them, but I've got a feeling they're going to probably rotate very soon. Yeah,
the AE push is a very, very common thing, and then we see Kazaruk running that Huntsman, flinging some arrows, and manages to get Murphy with the sticks. He had the crit stickies around the door, and he takes down 3 people, including Layla. And she is going to drop. We've not seen an Uber so far in this game. Absolute carnage. And wow, back to square one for Feila eSports.
I feel like SDCK have been doing a bit of espionage, a bit of their homework, because like that was an interesting trap location. They kind of just, I didn't actually see exactly where it was, but very good trap from Murphy. Good call as well on that trap, probably from Mezzo or the scout. So yeah, I mean, kind of back to square one. Really awkward position for Feila right now.
Yeah, I mean, it is a very common place to put the stickies. People have been doing that for a while now, you know, not having their demo man really putting out the stickies on B, just keeping a trap up. And we see, actually, Feila eSports are rotating now, still on the minigun, Layla on 75%, trying to get control of the E point. And Kazaruk has gone down to Kuroi, but Joe gets taken out by JackeyLegs. A little bit of a DM going on there. The Uber is going to be used by SDCK, but the air blast from Grip is just going to yeet Murphy back down those stairs. He's not able to really get much done. And it does look like SDCK are losing a couple of players here. Mate's now gone down. Kuroi starting to pick up some frags. Unforgiven is still being those eyes on B, just watching what's going on. Layla now has 100% Uber, and it looks like Buck, they're going to go in, they're going to take the Uber onto B, and the rotation from SDCK has meant that they're just not in a good position to try and defend this, but they have got a level 3 sentry. It is Sap that gets taken down. Joe's gone down. Polska has taken the teleporter. They didn't clear top, and Polska is up there waiting for an arrow from his medic. Will he receive it? No, he's not going to. He's going to burn to death. And but it doesn't matter. They've actually regained control of B.
I feel like that bit of a rush, maybe. Like, I mean, the Uber came out. There wasn't any sort of chasing classes to go in. It was kind of just a pyro. There wasn't any scout, no soldier, and nothing like that. And then they didn't really kite it out. And yeah, no one cleared top. They didn't make sure that was clear, and that's what's going to happen. You know, you're going to have a heavy up there. He's going to be sitting on that telly. And Layla actually somehow managing to live there. Murphy just almost getting those sticks in. But I mean, it's only just a combo for them here. Like, they need more people in. Where are they?
Spray just took a massive amount of damage there, went down to 4 HP, has to pick up the health bag and a sandwich to try and live. Polska is just being so aggressive, the saviour of that previous push, just, you know, not clearing out top, enabled him to keep his team in this area, and Joe is receiving that classic Feila solo Uber onto the demo, and Joe does manage to take down Clark actually, so wow. Okay, so a lot of people dying all over the place here. Joe manages to pick up some key frags, but Sprayer does live, and SDCK have actually lost 4 people. JackeyLegs is still trying to defend B a little bit, but I don't think they're going to be able to do it for much longer. I do think he's going to jump and he gets Layla! Oof. Huge pick.
And Layla kind of just having to crouch down in that corner, afraid of that heavy in the window spot. Can be quite strong. They didn't really have any counters for it. I feel like Feila needs to group a bit easier before they're coming into this point, but either way, SDCK going to be defending this point with an Uber. I'm not even sure this was even needed from Sprayer, probably a bit of a safety catch there. Yahoo does go down, but they're getting the remaining of their players in here.
The thing about this is that if you can Uber out of B spawn and keep defending the B point, it is very, very strong because the spawns are still going to be not very fast for the attacking team and not too bad for defending. Like, if you can control B for as long as possible, it really messes with the spawn waves, and it's not as you know, easily given up as you might think. Joe is actually the only one on the point right now, spamming that sentry, trying to take it down. Solo camp time. He's getting some support from the rest of his team now. Yeah, some of the SDCK players were pulled over to the E point and had to defend that, and TK's been going in behind, just in this BC connector, just trying to cause a little bit of a disturbance. But the state of play right now is 4:30 for the first 2 points is not a very happy time. Kazalrock with the arrows again getting another kill. Mezzo is on a 3k right now, takes down Honjo, takes down Kuroi as well. Who needs a knife when you have a revolver? But SDCK equal Ubers, and they want to defend C here, and it just seems that Feila had to fight so hard for that B point.
Yeah, I was going to give a shout out to May actually, because he was in the, they were kind of trapped in the medic on B, and he managed to run across that sort of sight line there and just get the medic out, as with the heal speed, like the movement speed that you get from being the scout. So gets his medic out, Sprayer got on 100%, even Ubers for both teams here, but they're holding this corridor. They've got their demo here, so it enables them to do that. Yahoo going to be getting a quick reflect onto TK there, so they're not finding anything, and they've got Poker sitting up on this cliff as well, so very comfortable C hold so far, and also with Unforgiven going down as well.
I saw that Mezzo just landed on his head, and Unforgiven had no idea. Like, and Mezzo missed the stab while he was on his head, had to drop down. Like, it was just some spy on spy action, classic stuff that you're going to see on Steel. Murphy there with the pipes, takes down 3, including Layla. No medic for Feila right now. They've just lost so many players. Those spawns are going to be slightly faster now that they captured the B point, but it doesn't really matter when you know your entire team dies. You have to regroup, and it gives time to SDCK to wait for their respawns and the rest of their team to just get into position. Kazarok still rocking this Huntsman, just throwing those arrows down the channel, and it does look like Feila want to try going down BC connector again. I mean, about a 30% disad here, so you know they have to be careful. Murphy just getting so aggressive, and he's actually going to be punished for it. Grip takes him down with that detonator, but here comes the cleanup. May walks forward, gets 3, gets 4, and Layla is dead again. And that's the danger you have when you're going through a corridor on Steel and you don't have Uber. You have to be prepared that you're going to take a lot of spam.
They took that spam, and then May just like absolutely no fear, just kind of walking into them there and picking them off. But nice pick from Unforgiven, gets the heavy there on that top clip space on C. But they're trying to hold this. Yeah, I don't know about this. They're kind of Ubering into them here. I don't know if this is a bit of a meme play from SDCK. They're trying to hold it without their demo. But Jackalose comes from behind actually. But May with that Uber takes out Joe. Layla in a bit of a weird spot here. They even get the pyro as well, and she actually eats a bit of a pipe there. But I don't know, they seem to be careful they don't get wrapped.
Yeah, they've actually managed to get the force out, and they do have an advantage now. Kept the medic alive this time around. Layla's on 75%, but May on a 5k. He's just going around cleaning up these weak plays. Gets another one, takes down TK as well. And look at this pressure in the connector. Feila are just not being allowed to do anything but Kuroi. Great shot onto Sprayer.
Yeah, that was, I don't know, a bit of complacency there from Sprayer. I think he kind of just walked through, was like, yeah, it's right, we'll hold this. And then he walks through, takes like some damage, and then gets headshot even still from Kuroi. So, nice shot from Kuroi there. Didn't bother with that under positioning either to try and regroup on C. But they forget the force onto Layla. Poker's just there alone and gets that.
Poker's just so good in that he's not this heavy that will just babysit the medic. He will actually go out and do things to try and get into a position to best help his team. And it's an example of it there. We saw it earlier on that B point, and again, and look at May, 1 HP. Can he survive? No, he gets taken down. But Sprayer gets backstabbed, Unforgiven with the huge backstab, just hiding. Just nobody was even looking towards the D point, and he's able to get a huge pick and survive. And that means it's going to be an advantage now for Feila eSports. 8 minutes and 6 seconds for the first 3 points, and they're going to start attacking E now. They've got players on the point already. A lot of players going down actually. Clark is dead for another 10 seconds, so no sentry watching the final point. And Layla dies to something.
She just walks into the door and gets piped. Oh, that can't be happening. Joe was just kind of leading the charge in, but didn't have anyone else with him really apart from Layla. And yeah, just get picked off. I mean, there's so many people dead actually. Murphy going down is pretty big here. Long respawn time and trying to get this E-cap up time, but Clark's going to be going. He's just spamming with the scatter gun. Fong's kind of having decisions to whether he wants to stay on it or like get off and get heals. Decides to drink his bonk and survive for now, but kind of all over the place.
Yeah, Kazarok is trying to fling those arrows. Piyaka's actually on a 6 kill streak right now. Just just taking some names, taking people out of the equation. Sprayer goes down, gets backstabbed again by Unforgiven. Big jump in from Jackie, but he's just going to get denied. Reflect pipe from Grip is going to take down Yahoo. And Piyaka now on an 8 kill streak will stand on that point with his team, keeping them nice and safe. Get the cap in 9 minutes and 18 seconds. Not a time generally you want to see on Steel these days, right? I mean, we're normally looking something around 6 minutes we would consider an average time.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of sort of fast, like, it's been faster and faster Steel times really over the seasons. We've seen kind of crazy E-caps happen in like less than 2 minutes sometimes, so. But 9 minutes 18, not the best times really. I mean, it kind of just all came off, I mean, the reason they kind of capped that, I think, was just all that initiative really from TK to just start jumping in, and then Unforgiven getting that stab as well into Sprayer. So a couple of key things from the pit classes there from Feila actually pulling through to enable them to get that push.
Absolutely. I mean, one thing I have to point out is Scout on the defense, May, is currently the highest pointer for his team, 33 points. Not even getting cap points because you don't get those cap points on defense. So he's picking up kills, he is dealing out damage, and he's just cleaning house right now. And we'll have to see if he can do the same on the attack. Does look like they're going to go for this standard sort of suicide play onto B, making them get some pressure down, but Joe has the area on lockdown, and they don't really manage to get anything of worth. TK does go down, but he'll be spawning in enough time to be in position later on. And this aggressive sentry, Honjo, he's just standing on the high ground, so he's able to wrangle, he's able to get a bit more protection as well from things like spies and snipers. But it does look like SDCK are going to go again. They take the high ground, they're going to clear out the teleporter, which Feila did not do earlier. They managed to get the force, onto Layla, and Honjo also goes down. So sentry down, NG down, medic forced. Could you ask for more?
Yeah, that was a beautifully done sat wave there by SDCK. Like, they kind of just had the collapse come in. Jackie came in, like, Poker was just peeking it, like, didn't get sniped, didn't get really shot by the sentry because they were sat by Mezzo because he comes in at the same time as well. Now they're just using out Jackie completely caught off on Groy as well, probably going to go down as well. Even with the Darwins, doesn't have enough flame protection to resist that pyro. Yahoo is just holding W! He kills the demo there, and Layla's left running for her life.
That's just classic Yahoo, like most pyros at that point would be like, okay, I've had this Uber, the Uber's off now, let's just retreat back to my medic and babysit. No. He goes forward, he has that buff, use that buff. As Hildreth used to famously say on his teams, if you've got a buff, go and do something with it. And that's what Yahoo does. Just runs into the demo rather, and gets that nice reflect pipe onto Joe. No demo, I mean, it's pretty hard to lock down BC connector. As you can see, SDCK have control of this connector right now. And Feila are playing a bit of a passive hold onto the C point, and they're going to have to rotate. Look at Kazarok takes down Honjo. The sentry also has gone down. A lot of players dying. Layla drops to Mezzo's revolver, and it's just carnage, Buck. What is going on?
I was watching Mezzo that entire time. He was playing the classic spy bait play. He doesn't get set on fire from the detonator from Grip, and Grip doesn't chase him. No one chases him. He's just vibing on the point, and he comes in after the follow-up damage through the main connector, and he just finds that pick. So, I mean, beautiful play from Mezzo there, but Unforgiven trying to find something himself here. Unfortunately, he's going to find the minigun of Poker, and yeah, the whole of SDCK is going to cascade through.
The thing with Steel is, oh no, Murphy, he's in the pit. He's calling for medic. If he can get an arrow, there's a chance he can stick. This is the only thing I'm invested in right now, is Murphy's survival. Is Sprayer going to be able to give him out? No. Yeah, he's dead. He's in the pit. Exclamation mark pit, please. But the thing about Steel is, once you've captured a few points, your spawns on the attack are pretty much instantaneous, as Jackie also tumbles down. You see May onto the point. The defensive spawns, as you can see, are about 20 plus seconds right now. And just doing these clashes where you're taking out equal numbers as you're losing means that the spawns are just so much better. And Sprayer dies to Fong. Like, it's just a DM server at this point.
Yeah, he didn't fear. He was just like, nah, I'm just gonna lead the charge into D in front of my team, and then he just died to the scout. So I don't know what that was worth really. Layla almost has Uber, so these players on D probably not gonna be chilling too well. I mean, you got Jacka peeking in there as well. Poker gonna go down. Jacka's gonna get cleaned up as well. So bit of a back to square one again for SDCK, but it doesn't really matter. They got tons of time here. They're already trying to pressure this E point. Murphy, interestingly, actually on the point here rather than knocking out somewhere. But see how they white room hold.
Yeah, this is something that's really important. You see these simultaneous caps that go down on D and E, which is something a lot of teams neglect because they feel like once C is captured, the bridges are out, you can get people onto the E point. But if you get that D capture, it is actually really important. So either the defending team has to separate their forces into defending both D and E, which of course gives you a better chance of getting a lot of cap time on each one, or they just ignore D and let you have it, which locks down their E-side spawn, and that is really, really important in the long run. But essentially equal Ubers here. Later's 100% and Spray is on 85, just a little bit behind. Kazarok again getting another arrow kill, this time onto Fong. And to be fair, not much has actually happened right now. Joe goes down to Jackie Legs, but Kuroi's starting to pick up a few headshots here. Does take down Kazarok, and Feila sitting fairly comfortably right now, just holding onto that white room.
They're going to need those comms though if they try and rotate in here, SDCK. But yeah, at the moment they're kind of in the main connector. Jackie maybe trying to wait for a bit of a buff here. But, oh, although Weaver gets used? Weaver gets used, I didn't even see that.
I think Honjo gets the force, like, with his sentry or something. Like, absolute Chad play. I mean, that's what you want from your engineer. Chipping in with the odd Uber force here and there. So SDCK with the time onto the E point now, and there we go. Just, you know, damage coming in onto the big heavy hitters and getting cleaned up. The Uber being used by Feila in white room. They're picking up some kills. Mezzo, Yahoo, Jackie Legs all going down. But most importantly, Kuroi is dead. There is no sniping coming on, and this spam is just being countered with more spam. TK trying valiantly to defend that point, gets taken down by Murphy, but Joe's pipes takes down one, takes down two. Can he get any more? I don't think he can. And 5 up for Feila. This is going to be a tough call. Just under 4 minutes to go before the round is over.
Pajaka taking that spawn side defense into his own hands there. This could be sort of rotating over killing Poker there. So, but there's still just holding a white room here for Feila, interestingly enough. Scooter trying to build their Uber. Mezzo goes for the stab, misses it, and manages to get out with his life. Never mind, gets splash damage from the pipes coming in. Bit of overextension onto the point as well for SDCK. They're trying to stack it as much as they can, and Joe's got his work cut out.
Yeah, the Uber from Feila is going to come in. They've lost so many people.
God.
Oh, and Grip, while the Uber just gets launched into the pit. Layla goes down to an arrow in the backside, and people are just getting cleaned up now. Time 6 on the point. Only 2 players live. Make that 1 player live. Make that an entire wipe on the side of Feila. Times 9 on the point. The simultaneous guitar taunt does mean that this round is over, and SDCK going to take a 1-0 lead. We'll have to see if they're going to take your words of wisdom into account here. We're on to the second round now, and it will be SDCK in the blue attacking first, and Feila eSports will be in the red defending and trying to beat the time afterwards. Sometimes this swap can, it can affect a team. You're going to be doing the same sort of phase that you did in the previous round, so everyone's kind of still in the same mindset, but sometimes that mindset can be a little bit detrimental. If SDCK were, feeling pretty confident, sitting high and mighty after that first round, will that turn into overconfidence? Will that turn into a bit of sloppy play on this round, or will they still be focused enough to set a similar time? While Feila, well, they got forced very easily in the previous round. I'll have to try and see if they can shore up their defenses a little bit here. Obviously, if Feila do win a round, they're going to a golden cap, and if SDCK do it, then they will take home all of the points. First casualty is going to be Kazarok. Gets taken down by Kuroi.
Yeah, Mezzo once again in this corner, maybe trying to go on to Kuroi here, but doesn't manage to find it. Managed to find a sap, but isn't going to find anything too much. Oh no, it's Honjo on Jack. He hits it twice and it doesn't. Oh, he's on Jack. Oh god, it's tragic. I think he would have got rid of that sap and maybe saved the sentry there if it wasn't on Jack. But yeah, they don't get any Uber force though for now. Layla's still okay at the moment, but I feel like they need to cover this top left area. There's only really one person watching it.
Yeah, they don't have the heavy up there, which is something that has been a bit more meta over the past couple of years, I would say. Having a heavy on the high ground with a teleporter up there. And at the moment, Feila are just kind of leaving it to TK to just jump up there and do his best by himself. And, he's popping the conch now. hoping that will help. And Yahoo's able to just take this high ground, and he doesn't even know what to do because there's no one to contest. It's just kind of like, okay, well, anyone else want to come up and get some free damage? Because he gets onto Layla for free, and she drops.
Oh no, can't be having that. Oh my god. Okay. I don't know, they don't respect the high ground pressure. I don't know why like Layla doesn't rotate out, or like some of the combo come back. Like they could just stand by this right wall and behind the sentry maybe, and just clear, like, you know, let people deal with the top pressure, but they just didn't do that. And god, that's like the freest B push you could ask for.
They don't even need to use Uber, Buck. Like, they're literally just... Feila have gone, and SDCK literally walk onto the point. They walk onto the point with full Uber and their entire team. Like, I don't understand. You know, you have that high ground. Often we see a teleporter up there to get you heavy, because heavy can really deny it. The soldier assists, but they just gave it away for free, and we can see SDCK are already in control of this BC connector with a huge Uber advantage. And Jackie Legs is leading the charge, jumps onto Joe, gets some decent damage. Murphy is going to be there, and Mezzo is going to be the one to get the clean-up kill against his former teammate, and it's just carnage right now. Layla is running around, she's at 60%, has to back out into the spawn, and Murphy is going to be trapping that up to make sure no one comes out for free. Castle Rook on a 4-kill streak is going to take down Honjo, so no engineer. Sentry is they're just on minis right now, Buck. I mean, Feila are just reeling right now.
Yeah, no level 3s, and they don't even care that they use their Uber there, because like they're gonna have these bridges down. There's already people on E's, which they called that. You know, May's called that he's on the point for ages. Jackie's in the heaven area, so they've got to clear him out, and that's gonna be a pain just in itself. Pyro's trying to approach him, but it's very hard because in the corner. Might try and get that pick, but it gives some time here. Mezzo and Jackie do go down though, but are they doing they do a D rotation into Uber? I don't know if this is gonna end well for SDCK.
I mean, Sprayer is on the high ground protected, but Unforgiven is going to be on him, and Yao has to fight both him and Grip, who does a cheeky little flare jump up there. Yeah, maybe the question, I was going to say the one redeeming factor for Feila at that time was the fact that their medic was alive and they had full Uber ad, and maybe SDCK just getting a little bit too far forward for their own good. But they got the first 3 points in 2:27, which is a very, very good time so far. It could have been even better if they just got that force there and kept Sprayer safe. Then they could well be capping E right now, but they are getting pressure all over the place. And with the only mini sentries, Honjo is trying to watch the D point. SDCK are just putting the pressure onto the combo right now.
Yeah, and this is why I'm not really a fan of the White Room Hole, because look at where Poker is. He's just literally in this head peak spot. There's barely anything they can do against, because they're like, Joe has to shoot other people first. And like obviously like Murphy, because he's trying to peek this with Clark on the sentry grid as well. So they're kind of just in this one doorway. They're getting spammed very heavily from Murphy. I mean, if they try and... The flank is really the key thing here for Feila right now. Like, they've got Fong and TK up in this heaven area, trying to deny it from any bombs and any sort of space-taking, really. But Murphy going down to Kroy will sort of delay their push in.
It's pretty big. It's pretty big. I mean, the spawns are basically instant right now for SDCK, so every time they lose a player, they're going to be back in action pretty quickly. Whereas Honjo died, you know, a while ago, and he's still in that respawn queue. So if they can get these strange, but Uber has been used by Sprayer very, very early on. They're going to go into the counter Uber. Kroy takes out Murphy again. So no demo for the attacking side, and Yahoo doesn't even try and get some cap time. He's trying to go on the rotate here, has to fight Unforgiven, and does get taken down. And SDCK kind of struggling to break this hold right now.
TK doing a wonderful job here, very patient, just on this high ground with his black box cons, just spamming them constantly. No one's really contested them too much either. Fong unfortunately going to fall into the pit there, but his backup will be returning. And because they haven't got this decap either, like not many people favour it too much, they are able to just kind of quickly get onto this E point from their spawn. I say that though, they are going for a bit of a depth corridor rotation on Disad.
That's spicy, and yeah, Fong is there behind. He gets two, takes down Sprayer, takes down Murphy. Jackie Legs gets cleaned up by Joe, and that's why they call it the death corridor, ladies and gentlemen. If you have a corridor with 2 spawns either side of it, the team can just pop their heads out and just take you down. And Fong gets another. He takes down May, takes down Poker. He is starting to pick up kills. Casrock's in the background, just constantly getting these arrow kills. By the way, he's just huntsmaning anyone he finds, and despite all of that, Buck, the respawns come in like that, and they managed to get 4 kills. So
yeah.
Now Feila of 4 players, 3 players alive.
I don't know why Feila didn't respect the spam angle on that door. They just, like, the heavy died to it, Spy died. I don't know what the Spy was doing. He was kind of just, like, trying to delay them coming in, maybe, I think. I think maybe getting caught out a bit there, but like they just came in with so much spam. They didn't hold back, try and trap them out or anything, and yeah, just completely overwhelmed. It's a really well played by SDCK there to try and fight that, and now they've got this really good positioning on E.
They do indeed. Times 4 on the point. They are losing a lot of players though. Fong again is just picking up these kills, and SDCK are losing numbers. Sprayer is trying to surf away, but he can't. He just hits the top of that doorway, and Honjo is going to take him down with his revolver, or his pistol rather. But again, despite all of that, they end up losing so many players for it, and their respawns are just so much worse. Double figures for 7 players on the team right now. And they just have to wait, and SDCK can just respawn and re-push in, and TK is doing his best. He's doing his darndest to try and block this point, but can't do it. 640 is probably the best Feila could have asked for in this situation, considering there's only about 2.5 minutes for the first 3 points. They really did come up against a brick wall trying to get that final point there.
Yeah, I don't know, the rotations around the back have not been the best from SDCK. I don't know who's like calling that, or whether it's like maybe a bit of a meme play. I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, going in Death Corridor when you've got Disad, would never advise, because it is never going to end well. You're going to get wrapped from the spawn, you're going to get trapped off, and your med is more than likely going to die in that situation every single time, and that's pretty much what just happened. So yeah, I mean, Feila are doing a decent job there, to be fair, to try and eke out some of that time. And yeah, now they're on the reverse foot. But yeah, I mean, massive shout out to TK there, because he was just doing so much. The one thing that he can't do anything about is Yahoo. So as soon as Yahoo was on the point, that was pretty much it for him.
Yeah, you can do so much work as a soldier on this map, but if you have a pyro staring at you, ready with that air blast, not much you can do other than left click and hope for the best. Murphy has put the stickies in the same position he did before, which did get like a 3k plus a drop. You know, it's the regular ones on the door and then the extra ones around the corner. And I guess Mezzo is going to be his spotter, just letting him know when to det. And as always, no one tries to defend the A point because there's no point. There's no point. We just defend B. And look at Poker. Look where Poker is right now, Buck. You're a heavy main. You must be loving this. This is what a heavy should. This is where a heavy should be. Height, actually, control.
The funny thing is, I actually don't like standing there because I've been backstabbed up there before. You can actually jump and just backstab from underneath, which is kind of funny. But yeah, it's gonna be very annoying for people to fight into. But at the moment, it's looking like Feila gonna be going to this white room space. They've called the sticks, I think. Jacula's been a bit annoying here, finding a couple there. Actually gets Kroy, which might delay a few things, but they're trying to make some space for Honjo, I think, which is why they're doing this.
Yeah, they've taken their entire team over to the E side, the E spawn, and I guess, okay, so they weren't taking their entire combo there. They were just kind of escorting Honjo. So he's got a level 3 up, he's got Dispenser, Teleporter exit, he's just got the buildings in position, he's got TK for company, but Joe immediately dies and TK goes down to the arrows, and now Honjo gets taken down as well.
Wow, who needs a sniper when you've got a bow and arrow with no zoom? Kazarok just vibing out on the Huntsman, really. Almost hits Fong there as well, but yeah, I don't know why Joe jumped up to the point there. Kind of a weird decision from him, and he just died instantly to the traps from Murphy, so they had no spam angle at all. And yeah, this entire white room AE push is just gone, so that's a good, what, minute and a half wasted? They've used Uber now on B though.
Yeah, they've used the Uber on B. There's a bit of a trade going on. But again, SDCK find themselves in a situation where they're locked into this little cube of space, and they don't really have an area to go forward. And they're trying their best, but Feila are spreading out and making it difficult for them. But there we go. Kazarok is going to open things up with kill onto grip. Those arrows, it's like Legolas right now, just hitting everything. And Posca on the high ground through that little window. Jaculates with the huge jump, but gets taken out by that mini sentry. And this is just going to be a little bit dicey right now, as Murphy is kind of weak, as is Kazarok. They're trying their best, and Clark's actually going to pull his sentry out, and Spray goes down to Fong. Huge.
Yeah, massive flanking from him. I don't even know how he had the space to do that in the end, but he does a big rotation in, I think, and just yeah, finds that. I was gonna say the push was a bit weird there from Feila, because like they just kind of like kept on full acceleration like all the time. People were trying to constantly peek. I'm surprised SDCK didn't punish them for that, because obviously I guess it doesn't have the comms to see who's around the corner that well. Because pushing B like back into B can be a bit sketchy against that wall, but yeah, just kind of surprised that worked out for them. And now Layla's using into BC to Murphy.
Yeah, Joe gets dropped there out of the Uber, and Layla uses. And what was looking really, really good for them is now pretty much nothing, as they're basically on equal Ubers essentially. I felt like that B hold would have worked a lot better if there was a little bit more coordination, because they got a couple of kills. Yahoo and Posca were doing a good job, and then Jackie jumped forward and everyone looked up and took him out. But if the rest of the team had walked forward, they could have just cleaned house, like you said. So some trades going on right now. Clark is dead, so no sentry to speak of, and Kazrock is down for another 10 seconds as well. So at the moment it looks like Feila are deciding whether they're going to go for B or they're going to go for C. Go for C or E, or just stand in the corridor and die, as they're starting to bleed out a few players. Layla is at 90%, but she's only got grip for company. Fong is trying to actually wins the DM fight against May on the E point.
Yeah, Fong is taking everything into his own hands there. He's getting revolved by Mezzo, maybe needs a bit of an arrow, but yeah, they trade a heavy for a demo earlier on in that BC connector as Pajaki finds that pick onto Murphy, and now they've got a return Uber coming in from Yahoo, who's going to try and chase in here, but he's finding grip here, which is going to air blast him back. Murphy is back in this corridor, and the only time you can really hold this corridor, I think, on defense is when you've got your demo with you, because you can just trap off that doorway. And yeah, they're doing a lot of work. Jack looks as well with his black box conch, guys pops as well. So much damage in this corridor.
Yeah, Posca is there and manages to get two. Takes down TK and Piyaka, and then Kazarok is going to take down Unforgiven with the arrows. Fong is doing his best, manages to take down Sprayer in a 1v2. Jackie Legs with the heals wasn't able to stop his medic from dying, and now Feila again are given a bit of a lifeline here as SDCK are 4, make that 5, make that 6 players down, and they have ×3 on the point.
Oh, but the medic went down, Mezzo got a huge dam on Layla, and that's really going to deny their push in here. No heals on the point means that this pressure is not going to be long-lived. TK can just get spammed down by all this hit scan. Joe's just decided to jump onto Heaven. He's doing a bit of job, like a bit of a work here to try and deny these doorways as best he can, but he's going to get just ran into, really. Can't really jump out that effectively as demo. As TK's back on the point again, they got the heals in. I don't know, Unforgiven is trying to delay them coming in here. There's a lot of players to try and deny, though.
Yeah, there's a mini sentry watching kind of BC. May takes down Layla, but a medic kill's not really what you need right now, because there is a lot of cap time on the point. 1 minute 20 to go. SDCK are going to be clenching a little bit right now. Demo is dead, Posca is dead as well. So they're going to have to try and regroup and just, hard hold this E point, because as it stands, the only way Feila are really going to be able to win this game is if they manage to capture the E point. And Joe gets taken down by Kazrock. He switched onto the sniper rifle. He means business now. Things are starting to get a little bit spicy when Kazrock goes back to the regular sniper rifle.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, guys, can we just win this one out? And Kaz is like, all right, I'll give you the sniper rifle. So, yeah, finds a demo there, making it very hard for him to try and push in. Joe does have a fast spawn, but he's dead again. Poker's just kind of chilling in his PC connector alone, doesn't care about who's coming at him. And yeah, got minis coming out from Clark as well in this Heaven area. Looking relatively set up. I don't know where the combo is. Actually, they're still holding this E side for now, I think.
Yeah, there's a little mini sentry just watching, and with 20 seconds to go, it's over. I'm afraid to say this is dead time, because it takes at least 44 seconds to capture that E point, and they're just going to use an Uber here in the BC connector. Bit of a trade going on. This is purely for the stat padding, and Unforgiven's going to manage to get another medic kill for his logs. Yahoo, the only survivor after that exchange, but he's not going to mind. And neither will his team, as SDCK take both rounds of this exchange, and it is going to be the full 6 points for them. They'll be returning to the top of the table, while Feila eSports are still at the bottom with the -1 point. And Buck, what that means in the long run is that I think SDCK are now guaranteed to be in playoffs, and Feila eSports cannot reach the playoffs. Check us out on Twitter and, of course, Discord. And if you want to see our different levels of merch that we have available at the moment, all of the proceeds go towards helping pay our production staff and our casters, as they do some amazing work, both casting and behind the scenes, that is often not seen. But for now, I've been CeeJaey, joined by Buck and Wiethoofd. You've been watching ChrisCast, sponsored by Manco Store, and we'll see you next time.